call the April Ojrsd Roberts School Directors regular business meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, presentation of colors, and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Post color. Please remain standing and join us in a moment of silence as we reflect on those serving in the United States Armed Forces, both past and present, the elected leaders of the state of Pennsylvania, and the elected leaders of our nation. We have much to be thankful for in our community. Thank you. That brings us to item 3.1, executive session announcements, or executive session announcement. The board met in executive session on Monday, April 15th at 9:15 p.m. to discuss personnel matters, and Monday, April 29th at 6:30 p.m. to discuss personnel matters. Takes us to item 4, Superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes. Item 4.1, Student Government Executive Council President's Report. Kayla?
Thank you. From the high school, the Spring Choral Concert will be held on Tuesday, May 16th, 2013 at 7 p.m. 90 students participated in the Day of Silence on April 19th to bring attention to the silence that LGBTQ students often have to live in to avoid being bullied or harassed. The day ended with a breaking of silence party where participants discussed their feelings and the events of the day. Owen J. Roberts DECA won the following awards at the DECA International Conference and Competition in Anaheim, California. Top 10 international finalists awarded to Kayla Oliver and Madeline Sell in Financial Operations Research, and top 10 international finalists awarded to Zach Matarazzo and Aaron Gray in Entrepreneurship Innovation Plan. From East Coventry is looking forward to a busy May. The PTA is hosting its spring book fair this entire week, and it culminates with the ice cream social and art show this coming Friday evening. Tuesday of this week is Grand Friends Day. Next Monday is Kindergarten Roundup. There are several concerts throughout the month that feature many talented musicians. The Odyssey of the Mind team from East Coventry will be traveling to Michigan at the end of May to compete in the world competition. From East Vincent, the East Vincent Odyssey of the Mind team has earned the title of PA State Champs in engineering for the 11th time. The East Vincent community is very proud of the work these students and their coach, Mr. Polchuk. Selected East Vincent chorus and orchestra students, along with students from across the district elementary schools, participated in an amazing concert held at North Coventry on Thursday, April 25th. The full East Vincent Chorus and Orchestra will perform for students on May 7th and celebrate with the East Vincent community in an Evening of the Arts presentation on May 8th. Doors will open at 6:30 p.m. The East Vincent staff is excited to welcome incoming kindergarten students for the 2013-2014 year on Thursday, May 2nd. From French Creek will be hosting their annual Fine Arts Night and Spring Concert on Wednesday, May 1st. Select students will also be participating in Special Olympics at Coatesville High School on Thursday, May 2nd. All students and families will be celebrating Teacher Appreciation Week from May 6th to the 10th. The next PTA meeting will be held on May 14th at 7 p.m. Tuesday, May 14th from 6 to 9 p.m. will be French Creek Night at Rita's Water Ice in Pewtown. Proceeds will go to support the 6th grade promotion party. The annual French Creek Fun Fair will be held on Friday, May 17th from 6 to 9 p.m. From North Coventry, Scientists Abound was recently at North Coventry. Fourth graders invited their family and friends to a Simple Machines extravaganza to share their innovations. And last Friday, second graders invited their family and friends to the second annual Space Fair, where they shared their research about planets, stars, spaceships, and astronauts. From West Vincent, Lions Club at West Vincent raised $570, which they are donating to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Today is Student Appreciation Day, which we started off with an African dance and drum performance. All related West Vincent staff, parents, and community will be recognized this week on their given day. Earth Day will be celebrated at West Vincent on May 1st. Many horticultural type activities have been planned in which all students will participate. Thank you.
Thank you, Kayla. Item 4.2, Superintendent's Report. The district was chosen among an elite group of awardees as a gold-level fit-friendly worksite. The National Fit Friendly program recognizes employers who champion the health of their employees and work to create a culture of physical activity and health in the workplace. We are recognized on the American Heart Association's Start Walking Now website and will receive a special gold seal that the district can use on all internal communications and external communications for the next year. Congratulations to Owen J. Roberts. Congratulations to our high school students. The high school collected 5,253 pounds of food that will be distributed and donated to the annual Fill Abundance Food Drive. The high school representatives from the high school will be traveling downtown to receive an award tomorrow. Our 3rd through 8th graders participated in the PSSAs over the past month. They are thankfully completed, and I'm sure their parents are happy as well. And finally, I have noticed as I've walked around the districts, there's a few countdown calendars starting. The end of the year is approaching, so we will allow the official countdown to begin. The last day of school will be a half day on June 13th for students, with graduation on June 14th. I think we're safely clear of all inclement weather at this time. Item 4.3, student recognition. I'd like to introduce Mr. Dave Strock. Yeah, I'm going to get caught on that comment, without a doubt. Hurricane Schwartz is brewing up a little storm for us right now. Mr. Strock.
Thank you, Dr. Christian. It's a real pleasure for me to be here this evening to introduce a gentleman to you that has been our leader and guidance and director of our DECA program. Through his efforts and our students' efforts, we have now been recognized on the state, national, and now the international level. At this time, it gives me real pleasure to introduce to you their teacher and director, Mr. Brian Burnett.
Good evening. I'm here to introduce my students who qualified for the International Conference. Just a little background on what DECA is. DECA is a club organized at the high school for students interested in careers in marketing, management, and entrepreneurship. We compete at district, state, and international levels, as well as complete many community service projects in our community. Tonight I'd like to recognize the following students for qualifying the International Conference. If you're here, please come forward. We just got in last night at 9 o'clock, so everybody's pretty tired. All right, Kyle Baker, Ricky Bardo, Jessica Bauer-Schmidt, Alex Bendike, Sam Bullock, Sienna Carroll, Gabrielle Delgado, Eric Gift, Noah Edgecliffe Johnson, Valerie Lenzi, Anthony Menza, Ryan McGee. One of our top 10 finalists, Zach Matarazzo, and his partner Aaron Gray. They completed a project in the Entrepreneurship Innovation Plan. They worked with a company that had already developed a technology for fuel canisters, and it increases the efficiency of diesel engines by 20%? Yeah, by about 20%. They placed in the top 10. Yeah, when you make it to international level competition, there's chapters there from all across the United States, as well as from Canada, Guam, Dubai, Mexico, South Korea, Germany, I think Mexico. In each category, there's 200 projects that you compete against. To be recognized as a top 10 finalist, that's an amazing accomplishment. Zoe Mattis, Brooke Miller, Amy Morris, Colin Sager, Eliza Stoner, and this team is here, Kayla Oliver and Madeline Sell. They also placed in the top 10. They did a project, was entitled Finance Operations Research category. They worked with a local bank to develop a strategic plan to improve their effectiveness of the bank's website. Again, they placed in the top 10, beating numerous other really, really good projects from around the country and the world. Please help me congratulate them. At this time, I'd like to introduce Heidi Lehman. She will present the next awards.
Good evening. Do you feel the energy in the room tonight? Electrical energy. There are a lot of scientists and young budding scientists in the room. And I'd also like to draw your attention to our programs where it says Science Research Competition. You'll notice that over the years, the words Science Fair has evolved to Science Research Competition. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about what that involves. It's an opportunity for our science to do science outside of school. It's an addition to the curriculum. So it's also an opportunity for our students to share their results in a public forum. It's kind of like doing a dissertation, so to speak. You're sharing your results. What's impressive is that each of our schools are a intermediate or the first round of competition for a larger competition. And we host the science research competition at each of our schools, and grades 4, 5, and 6 each have 5 students to move on to the regional competition, which is at the intermediate unit. So each of our schools only could send 15 people. And you'll see tonight by the energy in the room that many of our students not only participated, but placed. And I'd like to begin by sharing or introducing to you Mr. Oswald. He's representing East Coventry this evening for one of our coordinators, which is Mary Rita Bond.
Good evening, everyone. I just turned a year older recently, so I need my notes. Mine doesn't work like it used to. As Mrs. Lehman said, we are pleased to announce the East Coventry students who went on to compete actually against about 400 other students on May 5th at the Chester County Annual Science Research Competition. And of course, all of our students did very well, but these particular students earned special recognition at the awards event. So we'd like to call each of our students up. We'll start with Aaron Stubbs for a biochemistry project called Superfruit. Which fruit has more vitamin C? Congratulations to Aaron. We'd also like to call up Aaron Brooks for his computer science project entitled How Fast Is Your Computer? Next we have Andrew Fatullo for his botany project, which was called Is the Soup Ready? We also had some teams competing as well, and so congratulations to Ava Esterly and Kendra Melnichek for earning high honors with their team project entitled Wanted the Cell Phone. And last but not least, finally, congratulations to Brombean and his botany project called Grafting the Plantastic Mints. He earned distinguished honors and the Richard and Patty Smith Innovation in Science Award. And this award is given to the most creative project overall at the Science Research Competition. So with that, I'd like to introduce our East Coventry winners, and if we could have a round of applause, please. Great job, guys. And if you want to go right outside for a picture, that'd be great. It gives me great privilege to introduce EV's representative, East Vincent's representative, Anne Marie Barlow.
I'm really excited to be here tonight because science is my passion, and I'm really excited when I have a lot of students who put all the effort into creating a project and then presenting it for competition. And for the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade at East Vincent, we had over 140 student projects, and we were really privileged to send 15 on to compete, and 4 of those projects received awards. Andrew Vallada received high honors. What was the name of your project?
The pH of a liquid determines if it can fully dissolve in air.
We also had distinguished honors for Blaze Fisher.
What rocket recovery method most actively targets the most landing position?
Okay, and I needed explanation for that also. We also had a team project that received distinguished honors of Adam Levin and Jackson Massey. Gentlemen, what was the name of your project?
Robot, which looks better color like sensor.
Okay, so these gentlemen use what they are learning with the Lego Lab to create a project with robotics. And our last recipient was Michael Roscos, who is not with us tonight, but he also received honors and his project was about how far could it fly. It was actually paper airplanes. So simple projects can be very scientific, and so can these gentlemen had to explain their projects to me, so they did a great job. Great job representing East Vincent. Congratulations. I'll turn this over to Mrs. McKillop from French Creek.
Good evening. We are very proud of our French Creek scientists. And at this time, I would like to introduce you to the 2 students who earned honorable mention, Gavin Brown and Brad Pryor. And when the boys come up, we will share a little bit about their project. While we're waiting for the boys to join me, I do want to recognize our building coordinators. We had 2 teachers who served as science fair coaches for our students this year, one of which was Amanda O'Brien. And unfortunately, Amanda couldn't be with us tonight because she's in graduate school. But we do have Shoshana Moyer-Gabbard, who I'm going to ask to stand and be recognized because she did coach the students throughout the year. First, I'd like to introduce you to Brad Pryor, and Brad received honorable mention for his project, What Grade Takes the Most Steps in a School Day? In his experiment, he had students from each of our grade levels wear pedometers, and the goal was to find out if students from across different grade levels were equally active, and if not, to find out ways in which the school can help those students to become more active throughout their day. Brad, did you want to share any of your findings?
Second grade took the most steps.
Second grade. Okay, very good. And Gavin Brown received honorable mention for his project, How Much Carbon Dioxide is in What We Drink. In this experiment, he tested not only the amounts of carbon dioxide in various types of drinks, but also the numerous effects the different amounts have on the drinks themselves. This helping us to become more informed consumers. Very nice job, boys. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to recognize Tyler Muir, who could not be with us tonight, but Tyler did earn honors for his project, Environment plus Poster equals Master of the Game. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to introduce you to Mrs. Patrice Ritchie from Weston. Or Dr. Lloyd from North Coventry.
Good evening. Mrs. Ritchie couldn't be with us this evening. I'm sure she's off facilitating some other activity at North Coventry. She's a very, very busy woman. So we have 3 students that we would like to honor from North Coventry this evening. John Buckwalter, Layla Corsino, and Shavani Praveen. Come on up, ladies. I know John is at Scouts this evening. You didn't think you were going to get out of talking into the microphone, did you? So, Layla, tell us what the name of your project is.
Do dogs have a dominant paw?
Do dogs have a dominant paw? Do they? Yes. Interesting. I didn't know that. Shivani, what was the name of your project?
Does chalk increase friction while doing gymnastics?
Does chalk increase friction while doing gymnastics? Does it? All right. Very interesting. Thank you, ladies, and congratulations. Next up, we have Mr. Smith from West Vincent.
Good evening. I'd like to call the following students up here. Miss Ava Gessel, who earned honors. Ava. Ava, what was your project?
What kills the most microscopic life inside a drum?
What kills the most microscopic life in a drum? And you found it... Drop. And you found it to be what?
Plant food kills the most microscopic life in a drop of pond water.
Excellent. Next, I'd like to call up Belinda Holderness. Belinda. I think Belinda can make it tonight. Mr. Mickey Lee, who earned honors as well. Mickey? Mickey, what was your project?
If you drop different size, shape, and weight balls, which one will hit the surface first?
And what did you discover?
The smaller surface area, the faster, the quicker it'll hit the ground.
Smaller surface area, the quicker it hits the ground. Miss Nadia Makalati earned 3rd place, also qualified for the regional competition. And Nadia, your project was?
Which antacid neutralizes stomach acid the most?
And which one does neutralize stomach acid the most?
Phillips milk and magnesia.
Okay, so those that are needed, Phillips. I'll look over here to the board. You guys might want some of that. Next, Miss Jordan Mulford. Jordan.
How clean is the air we breathe?
How clean is the air we breathe? How clean is it?
Kind of clean.
Kind of clean, reassuring. And Jordan earned distinguished honors for her presentation. And then last, Miss Michelle Serene. Michelle. And then Michelle, your project?
Does temperature of a magnet affect its magnetic field lines?
Does temperature affect the magnetic field lines, and does it?
It does.
Thank you very much. Let's give these boys and girls a round of applause. Next, I'd like to introduce Mr. Mark Hofer. Mr. Hofer.
Good evening. So the middle school had over 300 science research projects this year. We were allowed to send 10 to Chester County. 5 of our students won awards, and they will be recognized tonight. Several of them have frantically signaled me not to make them speak into the mic. So I will take care of it here. We have Stephen Giacopinello, 7th grader, won an honorable mention in his category, which was, it's escaping me, chemistry. That's what I thought. I didn't want to. Okay. Stephen. We had Grace Murray, honorable mention in the category of environmental science, she thinks. We had Emma Hagan, who I thought was here. Hi, Emma. Good. 3rd place in chemistry. We have we have Sierra McFarland, who won a 2nd place in engineering. And Eric Hughes couldn't be with us. He won a 1st place in botany and the Bright Ideas in Botany Award at Chester County. So let's give them a hand. In addition, Eric, Emma, and Sierra went to the Delaware Valley competition. That had over 1,000 projects. Students from South Jersey, all of Delaware, southeastern PA, and in that competition, Sierra McFarland won honorable mention in the category of engineering and the honorable mention in the Exelon Generation Power-related award. So let's give them a hand for that. And now Jeff Stone for Cyber Mission. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jessica Stone. I'm one of the gifted support teachers at French Creek Elementary School, and we're here to recognize 3 6th grade students who participated in the competition this year. I could have Audrey Farnham, Sam Smith, and Gavin Brown. Come up, please. These students competed in something called eCyber Mission, which is a STEM competition run by the U.S. Army, and it's open to 6th to 9th grade students, and it encourages them to look at the world around them and find an area that they can improve. And this group of students worked very hard to help younger students at French Creek learn the importance of closing the doors behind them. And they looked at this from 2 different angles, both for energy efficiency and also for safety and security. These 3 students won 2nd place for 6th grade across the state of Pennsylvania, and each student will receive a $500 savings bond. Congratulations.
Good evening again. This evening we'd like to recognize our high school world language department. And the Pennsylvania State Modern Language Association qualifies schools for exemplary programs. And this award requires our world language department to do an audit of the program in 11 areas, including the languages that we offer, our student enrollment in those languages, participation in advanced placement, the scheduling, the instructional practices of the students, and the assessments that we give to our students. And I'm very pleased to share that our high school earned a Golden Globe Award. The organization awards either a Bronze, Silver, or Golden Globe Award, and we earned a Golden Globe Award for our World Language Department. Ms. Audrey Andres is our department chair, and she's going to accept this award tonight. And at this time, I'll turn things over to Dr. Marchini.
It is a pleasure to acknowledge Mrs. Candace Weiss, life skills teacher at the high school and the Best Buddies advisor, for the distinguished honor of being chosen Citadel Heart of Learning finalist for the district. The Citadel Heart of Learning Award is a nationally recognized program through Citadel Banking and the Chester County Intermediate Unit. The award is designed to honor, thank Chester County teachers while raising awareness of the impact on students, families, and the entire community. A quote from Mrs. Weiss's nominations include, "This teacher has amazing enthusiasm, good humor, high standards, and clear expectations." Mrs. Weiss felt humbled by the recognition, stating, "I truly do love what I do every single day and feel fortunate that I get to be in this position and work with students and staff that I do." Mrs. Weiss is one of 15 finalists to be chosen for 3 awards of $1,500 to be announced at the Citadel Heart of Learning Award banquet in May. A full description of the award along with names of all nominees may be found at the CitadelHeartofLearning.com. Congratulations to her for this wonderful achievement. She was not able to attend. She had a baby girl about a week ago, Mary. We also had some nominees from the high school, William Crow, Aaron Calasunas, and Peg Tinder. It's a wonderful group of educators. I'm proud to have them at the high school. I'd like to turn it over to Todd Oswald now.
Good evening. I have the pleasure of introducing 6 of East Coventry's award nominees for the Citadel Heart of Learning Award. The majority of them are here with us tonight. I'd like to start with Lisa Bevan. Lisa Bevan could not be with us tonight, but our next nominee is Lisa Bellata. Lisa Bellata is here with us tonight, so Lisa. Our next recipient is home caring for her little ones as well, and that is Melissa Bokulik. Our next nominee is Kevin Houston. We have Kelly Loomis. And our last nominee, who could not be with us tonight, I don't think she's here with us tonight, but just let me double check, Sybil Vernon. So these are our 6 nominees from East Coventry. Congratulations. It gives me great honor to introduce my esteemed colleague, Dr. Lloyd from North Coventry.
Thank you, Mr. Oswald. The Citadel Heart of Learning nominations usually come from parents, and boy, did the North Coventry parents turn out to nominate 9 North Coventry teachers this year for this award. So receiving the nominations from North Coventry this year are first grade teacher Lisa Beeler, our IST teacher, Kelly B. One of our learning support teachers, Tiffany Black. Our infirmed kindergarten teacher, Susie Bittler. You have to deliver her. You just wanted to show off that scooter. It is impressive that you can ride that scooter and teach kindergarten at the same time. I think she was going for the sympathy vote. Third grade teacher Shelley Flick. Fifth grade teacher Patty Janda. First grade teacher Leah Salzer. Health and Physical Education teacher John Sands, and first grade teacher Lori Shive. Many, many talented teachers at North Coventry. Well, this is only a sampling of a few that we have. I believe I am turning the microphone over to my esteemed colleague from West Vincent, Ed Smith.
Representing West Vincent this evening, I'd like to introduce and bring up Mrs. Kimberly Geary, as well, who teaches first grade, and then Mrs. Natalie Whitmore, who also teaches kindergarten. I'll echo what Dr. Lloyd was saying. These are but only two of the finest teachers at West Vincent, and they do me proud every single day. So thank you very much. I turn this over to Dr. Robert Saladino.
Good evening. It's my pleasure this evening to recognize some of our outstanding middle school teachers. I believe we have 5 nominees from the middle school. However, I believe just 2 are here with us tonight. So I'd like to begin with our duo in the back, our dynamic music duo sitting together, Mrs. Cheryl Markowski and Mr. Jason Hess. If you would please come forward. We have an outstanding music program at the middle school, due in very, very large part to the outstanding work of these 2 individuals. You had the opportunity, if you were at last month's board meeting, to see some of Mr. Hess's students perform. We just, again, are so proud of our music program, and I thank the both of these individuals for all of their work to make music in our middle school. So thank you. We have 3 other teachers that I'd like to just recognize. Again, I do not believe that they were able to be with us this evening, but congratulations go to Rachel Brown, Noah Fickler, and Brad Cresswell, and I'll get these certificates to them tomorrow. At this time, I'd like to turn things over to Dr. Bell from East Vincent.
Thank you. I'd like to ask Mrs. Eileen Meeker to join me. And I would say that I am truly honored to be here this evening to present to you Mrs. Meeker. She is our nominee from East Vincent and probably had about 18,000 nominations. Mrs. Meeker has been on a roll. She received several awards last year through the IU. And it's just time to celebrate her in terms of the fact that the early intervention program has been housed at East Vincent for over 20 years. That program is Mrs. Meeker, and she does just the most phenomenal job every day, and the children are just such a blessing in our building, and we truly are so proud, Mrs. Meeker, that you are part of our staff. And at this time, I would like to introduce Mrs. McKillop from French Creek.
Good evening again. We had 2 nominees from French Creek. One nominee, Mrs. Sarah Allender, who teaches 4th grade, was not able to be with us tonight, but we certainly do want to recognize all of her efforts and her talents on behalf of our students. We also had a second nominee, Mrs. Stephanie Stufert, who teaches 3rd grade, and I'd like to ask Mrs. Stufert to come up to be recognized. Mrs. Stufert is known throughout our building as being a teacher who continually goes above and beyond for her students, and she's known for her kind and compassionate ways, but yet her firmness. And the students, love to be in Mrs. Stufert's class, and it's no surprise that she is standing up here before us tonight. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Dr. Christian. Before we move to public comment, I have one statement regarding an item on the agenda. As a result of over 15 months of negotiations with the Roberts Educational Association, I am very pleased to point out on tonight's agenda that on tonight's agenda is a tentative 4-year agreement between the district and the Roberts Educational Association. Although this critical negotiation caused some disruption to our students and our parents in recent weeks, I am thankful that the process has concluded with a 4-year contract. This agreement takes into consideration the balance of our instructional needs and the difficult economic environment that our district faces. Special thanks to our administrative team for their support and guidance during this important process. Thank you. Which moves us to item 5.1, public comment on agenda items. Information, proposals, and statements from individuals or delegations pertaining to items on the agenda. Speakers are to indicate your name, township of residence, and the items on the agenda which your comments are addressed. Speakers will be limited to not more than 3 minutes. Moves us to item 6.1, or 6, board committee reports. 6.1, the meeting of the Committee of Whole was held on April 15th, 7:30 p.m. in the Administrative Boardroom. The following committees met at that time: Curriculum and Instruction, Legislative and Policy, Extracurricular and Interscholastic, and Finance Committee. 6.2, Building and Grounds Committee. Mr. Kleinfelder.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes. There was a Buildings and Grounds meeting on Monday, April 15, 2013 in the Administration Building at 6 p.m. We reviewed 2 change orders for the roof repairs at the high school, or needed repairs at the high school. Those change orders are on the agenda tonight for approval. We received a project update from Mr. Jeff Chambers on the status of the East Coventry and East Vincent facility improvement projects. The committee reviewed the project development agreement with Johnson Controls. Actually, Mr. Phil Solomon from Johnson Controls provided an update on the energy saving recommendations for East Vincent Elementary School. We reviewed the capital budget for 2013-2014 for the facilities, operation, and capital. The Buildings and Ground Committee meeting scheduled for Monday, May 6, 2013 will be canceled. These items will be reviewed during the Committee of the Whole meeting on Monday, May 13, 2013. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Kleinfelder. 6.3, Chester County Intermediate Unit. Mrs. Barkas.
The Chester County Intermediate Unit Board of Directors held its monthly meeting April 17, 2013 at the Educational Service Center in Downingtown. The following items were discussed. We had a hands-on presentation called A Tale of Two Divisions, which was basically in coming together of the Educational Research Development and Technology Service and Teachers and Learning. We basically had iPods at our fingertips, and we went through the e-books that the IU has developed with districts in order to enhance review for kids for Keystones. The board accepted with deepest regret the resignation of Dr. Alan Sabojin, effective June 13, 2013. The 2013-14 IU marketplace budget was acted upon, and that is scheduled to have no price increase for Chester County schools. Our next school board meeting will be held Wednesday, May 15, 2013 at 8 p.m. at Cat Pickering in Phoenixville. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mrs. Barkas. 6.4, Curriculum and Instruction.
Some highlights for curriculum. Math, PD is working on, in secondary, Common Core trimester rubrics. Elementary is working on EDM's 2012 edition. In science, the Science Research Competition Coordinators, got that right, are working together, meeting after school to standardize student packages and judging sheets so that it can be more uniformed across the district. They have also created a curriculum piece for each school that connects the curriculum to the science research competition. In ELA, teachers have created a K-12 glossary of terms directed towards the Keystone exam so that students are fully understanding what is expected of them in each question. In professional development, our focus next year will be on writing. So the Language Arts Department is working on starting writing walkthroughs in all schools to see what the needs are going to be for next year's PDA. So they're kind of getting themselves ready for next year. In our May Cal, we can anticipate presentations on the 5th and 6th grade performance tasks and how we integrated technology with curriculum. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mrs. Barkett. 6.5, extracurricular and interscholastic. Mrs. DeLulo.
At the April 15th Committee of the Whole, options were presented regarding resurfacing or replacing the turf fields, discussion of the spring sports that are well underway, and the numbers of student athletes involved. Extracurricular and interscholastic will be meeting with the athletic director and administrative liaison later in the week to go over evaluation assessments for coaches, determine how many seniors are continuing to participate and in which sports they remain actively involved, and will be collaborating on any ongoing issues or concerns with varsity or JV sports. We will also request a list of any feeder teams utilizing OJR's facilities and the fees the district has in place.
Thank you, Mrs. DeLulo. 6.6, Finance Committee.
Yes, we had a Finance Committee meeting within the CAL on April 15th. At that time, we were discussing the ongoing budgetary process that we're going through. That most likely will be brought to the board's attention for final approval in the May meeting. And that's all I have to report tonight, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Freeze. 6.7, Legislative and Policy. Mr. LaCoff.
Thank you, Mr. President. Last week at the IU, we held the annual legislators breakfast. It was attended by almost all of the representatives in Harrisburg, and there were dozens of school board members and administrators present. The topics that were discussed, questions asked of the legislators, was pretty predictable. It was about funding, mandate relief, and what the prospects were for the coming legislative session on getting some bills passed that would help us. And I was pleased to see that the legislators understood the issues and generally were on the right side of the issues. Some of the topics that were of keen interest to them were the new formula for special ed funding. A committee will have to be formed statewide to determine how to fund those. They talked about issues of mandate relief and the ever-present sort of Damocles about the pension funding. And they were pretty much in agreement that we have to stop kicking the can down the road as we have for decades and finally fund the pensions properly. It was a good turnout, and I think that we should mark our calendars for next year. It was worthwhile. All of us could attend and enjoy a breakfast with our colleagues and the legislators. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. LaCoff. 6.8, Personnel Committee. Mr. Stone.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report this evening.
Thank you. 6.9, People Services and Special Education. Mrs. Ettinger.
Thank you, Mr. President, but I do not have a report this time.
6.10, Technology Committee. Mr. Kleinfelter.
There's no report at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Kleinfelter. 6.11, Transportation Committee. Mrs. Wolf.
Yes, we're just continuing to monitor our transportation in our system, planning for a seamless transition to the end of the school year through the summer and a positive and seamless transition into the new school year.
Thank you, Mrs. Wolf. That moves us to item 7.1, motion to approve recommended routine matters. 7.2 through 7.13.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Mr. LaCoff, moved by Mr. Freeze, second by Mr. LaCoff. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 8.1, motion to approve routine matters. 8.2 through 8.5.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Mr. Freeze, second by Mr. Stone. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 9.1, board communication. Mrs. Carmine?
There are no communications, Mr. President.
Thank you. Item 10.1, board discussion. Any items for discussion?
I just wanted to say one thing. Last week, I was privy to go to the district orchestra for the elementary school and the district chorus over at North Coventry. Dr. Lloyd put on a good presentation over there, and the children did a wonderful job, and I just wanted to acknowledge their hard work and their efforts. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Freeze. That moves us to item 11, old business. We have none. Item 12, new business. Item 12.1, motion to approve personnel matters 12.2 through 12.10.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Kleinfelder.
Second.
Second by Mr. Stone. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And I believe Mrs. Ravis is here. Is that right? There she is. Let's read your proclamation. Whereas Mrs. Ravis, as an employee of the Owen J. Roberts School District for the past 20 years, has made a significant contribution to the students and the district, and whereas Mrs. Ravis has given unselfishly of her time, talents, and energies in serving the youth in our community by performing her job to the best of her ability, and whereas Mrs. Ravis has made a great impact upon the Owen J. Roberts School District now and in the future, and whereas Mrs. Ravis' retirement is richly deserved and recognized as one of high honor and distinction. Therefore, be it resolved that the Owen J. Roberts Board of School Directors, the administration, and fellow employees of the Owen J. Roberts School District express their deep appreciation to Mrs. Margaret Ravis for her loyal service and wish her good health and continued success in her future endeavors. Be it further resolved that the third day of June 2013 be officially declared Margaret Ravis Day in the Owen J. Roberts School District. Congratulations. That moves us to item 13, new business. 13.1, approval of the tentative agreement with the Roberts Educational Association.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lakoff, seconded by Mrs. Ettinger. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 13.2, approval of Teacher Appreciation Week resolution.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lakoff, seconded by Mrs. Barkis. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Sorry. Opposed? No. Motion passes. Let me read that statement. Teacher Appreciation Week, May 6th through the 10th, 2013. Whereas America's greatest strength has always been an educated citizenry, and whereas the educated citizenry is directly attributable to our system of free and universal public education that provides an educational opportunity for all students, and whereas the foundation upon that system of public schooling rests in the classroom teacher, and whereas the classroom teacher is challenged daily to reach out to every student regardless of ability, interest in learning, social or economic background, physical, mental, or emotional handicap, race, religion, creed, or ethnic origin, to provide the assistance and guidance necessary for a full intellectual development. And whereas the classroom teacher is a key to intellectual and occupational preparation of individual citizens who collectively determine the quality of life in America and this community, and whereas the work of the classroom teacher deserves the deepest respect and admiration of the citizens of this community, now therefore it be resolved that on May 7th, 2013 be proclaimed Teacher Appreciation Day at the Owen J. Roberts School District for the purpose of providing public recognition and appreciation for the dedication and contribution of the classroom teacher, not only to this community as a whole, but to each of us as individual citizens. Adopted at this meeting of the Board of School Directors of the Owen J. Roberts School District on this 29th day of April, 2013. Thank you. 13.3, approval of the e-signature resolution.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lakoff, seconded by Mr. Kleinfelter. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 13.4, approval of request PDE Act 80 approval for the 2012-2013 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Lakoff, seconded by Mr. Stone. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. 13.5, approval to grant diplomas to the members of the class of 2013 upon satisfactory completion of all graduation requirements.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Kleinfelder.
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Barkis. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 13.6, approval of out-of-state overnight trips.
So
Student
moved.
trips, sorry.
Trips.
Trips?
Trips.
A little dry. Been a lot of reading, sorry. Approval of out-of-state overnight student trips.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Kleinfelder, seconded by Mr. Lakoff. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 13.7, ratification of homebound students.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lakoff, seconded by Mrs. Barkis. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 13.8, approval of textbooks for the 2013-2014 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Barkis, seconded by Mr. Lakoff. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 13.9, approval of conference attendance.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lakoff, seconded by Mr. Stone. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 13.10, approval of 2013-2014 staffing recommendations.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Barkis, seconded by Mr. Stone. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 13.11, approval of Chester County Intermediate Unit 2013-2014 budget.
In a hurry.
Moved by Mr. Freeze, seconded by Mrs. Barkis. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 13.12, award of bids in accordance with the CCIU joint purchasing agreement. Moved by Mr. Freeze.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Barkis. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 13.13, approval of change orders.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Kleinfelder, second by Mr. Lakoff. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 13.14, approval of separation and release agreement.
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Barkis,
Second.
second by Mr. Lakoff. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 13.15, approval of agreement for COBRA administration services.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Lakoff,
Second.
second by Mrs. Barkis. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 13.16, approval of professional services and/or maintenance agreements.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Kleinfelder, second by Mr. Lakoff. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. That moves us to item 14, public comment. Information, proposal statements, and/or questions from individuals or delegations pertaining to any item. Speakers should indicate their name and township of residence. Speakers will be limited to not more than 3 minutes.
First, on both professional and a personal nature, I would like to congratulate Marge on her retirement. And she is truly a devoted employee. She's devoted to her students in this district and to the Roberts Education Association. As president of the Roberts Education Association, I would like to make the following comment. The teachers of the association are thankful we were able to reach a settlement with the board this evening. The REA would like to acknowledge the efforts of both Dr. Christian and Jackie Crumrine in facilitating this agreement. This contract will allow the REA and the district to move forward and continue providing our students with a great education. The association looks forward to working with the board in this endeavor and all future activities. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rock.
Mr. Rock?
No, thank you. That moves us to 15.1, board request for information. None. 16. 16.1, adjournment. Moved by Mr. Lakoff, second by Mr. Freeze. We are adjourned.